Today, we are going to explore the Google GeoTools. This is one of the most complex items that are probably in the boot camp this time, and I really think it's because they're things that we just don't use very frequently. So we aren't real sure how to use them in the classroom either because we don't really access them on a regular basis. So there's actually three different GeoTools that we're going to discuss today. So the first one is going to be My Maps. We're going to talk about creating a map, adding places. And then we're going to jump into Google Earth, talk about Street View and doing a project in Google Earth, which is very, very similar to My Maps. And then also not mentioned on the slide deck is Google Arts and Culture because it is mentioned several times on the exam, but it's also a fantastic teaching resource to use as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I am just going to Google My Maps. I just typed in My Maps in the search bar, and this is what came up as the Google My Maps. So these are really going to be geared towards like our social studies classes. These would be fantastic to do with projects that follow over different locations. I was thinking like historical battles and plotting and, movements of people and things like that. This would be great to do that with. It also, there are lots of kids who are just interested in looking at different places on maps. So if they've never been anywhere before, this is a great way to expose them to different parts. So you can look at all of your things right here. You can have owned, shared, all that stuff. That's kind of intuitive. But I'm just going to go ahead and go right here to create a new map. So this is going to save to your drive, obviously, like everything does in Google. So right now we just have a map of the United States. So what I'm going to show you how to do is to plot a location and then kind of go from there. So I'm just going to start by titling the map for I'm just going to say level 2 test map, test for video because we don't really have to, do this for anything. So I am just going to put in the address for the Chilton County Board of Education. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a little path between our schools. So I have my address bookmarked right here, which I could also put in a location too. And I'm just going to click add to map. So if you can look over here on the left side, this has added a little pin to my map. I can edit this and I can call it by its name, Chilton County Board of Education. Can put a description if I want to. Save. I can change the color of the pen to be green. I can edit my description. I can add in an image if I want to. You could do a Google search if you wanted to and add in a specific image. You can do directions to here, and then you can also delete a place. So I'm just going to plug in one more. Chilton County. Okay, well, Chilton County High School has not come up as an option, so we will just do Thorsby High School. So I'm going to add this to my map. It has saved my title as Thorsby. I'm going to color them red, which is their color. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do directions to here. And I believe you can pull in your destination from your previous one. So now it's created like a little pathway. What you could do with this is that, you could build your little path to track movements, like I said, between like historical battles or things like that. You also can add different layers to the map too. So you could do things for different years and things like that. So if you wanted to add a different layer and say that, these are from this certain, point in time or things like that, you can do that and build upon the map. So it's just kind of like an interactive, techie way to plot locations on a map. You could do this between different cities, different historical landmarks, different types of landmarks, things like that. So the next thing that I want to do though with this is I'm going to remove the directions because I don't want to delete that. I don't want that layer on there anymore. I am going to go back to here and I'm just going to say view in Google Maps so that I can show you the next part of this for Google Earth. So this is bringing up that Google Earth view that we've got right here. And so I can still see the same things, except I'm looking at the terrain. So versus my maps is just going to be kind of like that driving aspect. You're only going to see roads and things like that and names. You're not going to actually see landmarks and things like that. So, but on our Google Earth view, we're going to be able to see those things. So, one thing that is mentioned is being able to look at Street View. So, we click our little man down here at the bottom, and anywhere that there's blue highlight, our man can go for Street View. So, one thing that I want to bring up though is just looking at this Street View, and you can also travel down your road a little bit if you want to. This is outside the Board of Education. See, hello, Board of Education. I will add that this was probably some time ago because number one, my car's not here. And I would, if you've recently been to the Board of Education lately, all of this land is cleared across from us. So I do know that this street view, and it does tell you this was captured in September of 2023. So that is a little bit outdated because now you can see too that this land is cleared over here where we were. So street view is a neat way to explore exactly what it's going to look like. You could go to different cities and look at buildings and things like that and be able to compare. So also in Google Earth, I'm going to jump over here to Google Earth really quickly and go to this test project that I was working on. You can also make projects. So just like you did a project in my maps, I went to file new project. This is my test project. I can plot certain locations. So if I want to add a place mark, we'll just drop it right here on the funeral home. I can do the same thing and I can build a list over here too and be able to view those different locations on my map. Something also really cool is our historical time lapse. So you can have your locations and you can actually go back and look at that location in years past. So one very noticeable thing right here from 2020 is that all of this land right here still has trees and everything. And going over to 2024, it's now cleared. A lot of kids are going to want to look at their houses. I indeed did go look at my house because we built it in 2020. So it was interesting to go look in the past years and be able to see what the land used to look like in that area before we decided to build our home. So historical time lapse is super cool. It would also be, it is not going to go back to like, obviously before we had satellite imagery, but you could do like, the expanse of cities and things like that and track those things would be a great activity and project to do with this. So Google Earth and My Maps. They are really not that different. My Maps is going to be, again, that driving view where you do not see terrain. Google Earth, you're going to be able to see the buildings and things like that. So it really depends on, you can do the same type activities and same type stuff. It just depends on what you want to look at. The last thing that I want to mention is Google Arts and Culture. So this is a really cool website where they have different art galleries. They have different I believe they have like national landmarks and things like that too, where you can go in and do like 360-degree videos. They have historical figures, historical events, and you can, provide links to students to be able to go in and explore these things. We will just do Pompeii. So obviously, if you're discussing the time frame that Pompeii was there, you could discover this place. So this is just another way that students could be immersed in culture that they're not previously exposed to. Arts and culture is mentioned, like I said, on the exam as like a way to connect with areas that, they have not previously experienced. They have some interactive games and things like this. They have some talking tours, really some things that would be good enrichment activities to use in the classroom. So I'm going to go back here and click through the slides really quickly. So my maps as a suggested activity, they had, do the seven wonders of the world, and you just kind of would build a list. Again, you could do that right here and be able to see all of those things right there on that first layer, or do a project in Google Maps and accomplish the same thing. Google Maps, drag the pavement to the map to do street view. Google Earth, create interactive journeys to plot geographical elements, have them find locations and compare the terrain and elevation between different locations. So those are some things that you could, activity ideas. And then here is how to do a project in Google Earth as well. So I hope that you can try out some of these new tools. I'm going to be mentioning them in our social studies mini PED about incorporating technology. So Maybe you can use these ideas as well.